You are welcome back. We want to deal with different scenarios of subnetting. And for this scenario one, we have school computer labs, comprising of lab A, lab B, library, and administration. The network has the network address 192.168.10.0 with prefix length 24. That is subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Now, the task is to create subnet using variable length subnet mask. Assign a subnet to each group and write network address, subnet mask, first usable address IP, last usable IP, and broadcast. Now, how do we deal with this? Now, the first thing we have to do is we have to look at the network address that we are dealing with. Network address that we are dealing with is 192.168.10.0. Then the prefix length or subnet mask. Prefix length, let's use prefix length, is what? Is /24. Now, let's leave it at that. Now, for lab A we want it to accommodate 25 computers. What we are now to do is to find the power of 2 that will be at least 25. The power of 2 that will be at least 25. You agree with me that 2 raised to power 5 is 32. 2 raised to power 5 is 32. Whereas you have 2 raised to power, let's switch to scientific. Then 2 power of 4. You see that's 16. It cannot accommodate it. Then 2 power of 5 is 32. So that's what we are going to use. So we are going to use 2 raised to power n, where n is equals to 5. So we have 2 raised to power 5, which is equals to 32. So since we now have 32, it means the least amount of computer we can have in a subnet mask that we are going to make for lab A is going to contain 32 addresses. So now let's go to calculating the prefix length. So prefix length for that particular network is going to be 32 minus n, and in this case we have 32 minus 5, and that is what? 27. So it's going to give us the prefix length 27. Now that we have the prefix length to be 27, now what are now the range of addresses? Range of addresses in the subnet will be equal to, the first address is this 192.168.10.0. 0 up to 192.168.10.31. I hope you know how it is like that. 0, since we start from 0, then adding 1 to 31 to it will now make it 32. So this is the last address in this subnet. Now, let's go to lab B now. Lab B. For lab B, we want to accommodate 40 computers. Now, since 2 raised to power 5 is 2 raised to power 5 is 32. The next power will be 64. Abi 2 raised to power 6. 32 cannot accommodate this. So we use 2 raised to power next power, which is 6, which is 64. It means in a particular lab that must contain 40 computers, the least subnet mask that we can have there is 2 raised to power 6, 2 raised to power 6, and that will give 64. 64. The prefix length for that is going to be 32 minus n, which is equals to 32 minus 6, which is equals to, that will be 26. So the prefix length is going to be /26. Now /26, the range of address now, the range of addresses in the subnet maps, in the subnet will now be 192.168.10. Now this time around it will start from where this stop, so that will be 32. If you add 64 to 31, what will it give you? 64 plus 31, it will give 95. So 95 should be the last number. That will be 192.168.10.95. So if you look at 32 to 95, it's going to give us 64. So that's the range of addresses that we have for lab B. Now for library, we want to accommodate 12 computers. For 12 computers, that should be 2 raised to power 4. Because 2 raised to power 3 is going to be 8. And 8 cannot accommodate 12. So 2 raised to power 4 is going to be 16. So 16 is what has it. So 2 power of 4 at power of n is equals to 2 power of 4, which is equals to 16. So for prefix length is equals to 32 minus 4, which is equals to minus n first, 32 minus 4, which is equals to 32 minus 4 is going to be 28. So it gives the prefix length /28. Now the range of addresses now. Range of addresses, range of addresses in the subnets is equals to 192.168.10. The next address is going to be 96 up to, so if we say 95 plus 16, that should give 111. So it's going to be up to 192.168.10.111. Now for administration now. Administration. We have 10 computers. 10 computers. 10 computers. So 10 computers. So we have 2 raised to power. For 10 computers, it's still going to be 2 raised to power 4, because 2 raised to power 3 is going to give us 8, which is less than 10. So 2 raised to power 4, which is equals to 16. So prefix length for that is going to be 32 minus 4 minus n, which is equals to 32 minus 4, 32 minus 4, which is going to be 28. So it gives a subnet max /28. So for the range of addresses, range of addresses in the subnet is equals to 192.168.10. It will start from 112 now plus 16 now. The last address is going to be 111 plus 16 127. It will be 192.168.10.127. Now that we have all this mapped out, let's now, so we are done with creating subnet using variable length subnet maps. Now we want to assign a subnet to each group. So this is having a subnet, this is having a subnet, this is having another subnet, and this is having another subnet. So we have 4 subnets already. Now we want to now write the network address. So we say, let's say lab A, lab B, library, administration, so now let's deal with the first. Let's deal with the first. The first is network address. Network address. Now, network address for lab A. Network address for lab A. Network address for lab A is the first address. Now, for each subnet, the first address is the network address, the last address is the broadcast address, and the range of addresses between them is the range of usable addresses. Now, the first address for lab A here is this. So, and that is the network address for lab A. The network address for lab B is the first address. Then the network address for library is the first address. And the network address for administration is the first address. Now, the next thing we want to do is subnet mask. Subnet mask. Now, we already have the prefix length. The prefix length of 27 is, let's say the first 24 is 255.255.255. Then, in order to know the remaining addresses, let's do 128.64.32 and then 16, then 8, 4, 2, 1. This is the 8 bit. So we already take the 24 bits, remaining 3 bits. So the 3 bits is going to start from this side. So we add these 3 together, and that is 128 plus 64 plus 32, 224, and that is .224. That's the subnet mask for lab A. For lab B, the subnet mask is previous length is 26. It's going to be 255.255.255. This is 24 already, remaining 2. The 2 that we have left, it means is the addition of this 128 plus 64. 128 plus 64, which is equal to 192. So .192 is. So the subnet mask for the library is 28. With 28, so we have 255.255.255. Out of 28, we already exhaust 24, remaining 4. So the 4 will be this first 4. That will be, this is 16. Sorry. That will be 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16, and that will be 240. So .240 is the last bit. Now, for administration, it is still 28, so it has the same subnet mask, 255.255.255.240. Now, that we have done that, first usable address, we don't need this again. Let's remove it. So the first usable address, first usable address, usable IP, first usable IP. The first usable IP is the next IP to the network address. So this is the network address. This is the network address. This is the network address. So the first usable IP is going to be, we remove the 0, we put 1. For lab B, the first usable address, we remove the 32, we put 33. The next address to the, for this is the network address. The next address is the first usable address, 97. And for this, the first usable address is going to be the next address. We remove 1, 1, 2, then we put 1, 1, 3. Now, for the last usable address, usable IP. Don't forget that I already mentioned that the last address in the subnet mask is the broadcast address. So the address just before it is the last usable address. So let's copy the last address, then we subtract 1 from it. So we have 30. The last usable address for lab B, we have 95. So we subtract 1, is going to be 94. The last usable address for library, we subtract 1 from that, we have 110. The last usable address for administration, we have this, but we subtract 1 from it, so we have 128. We have 128. Let's have it like that. Now, we subtract, so it's supposed to be 126 instead of 127. Now, for the broadcast address, like we already know, broadcast address. Broadcast address is the last address. So it's going to be 31 for this. It's going to be 95 for this. It's going to be 111 for this. And it's going to be 127 for this. Now, with this completed, I hope you have been able to understand how you can subnet your network. And I hope you understand that the purpose of subnetting is very great, and it is for effectiveness of our network because of the broadcast domain. So because now if you need to send message across to only lab A, now when you are broadcasting on a network, the network will be busy for all the computers on the network. None of them will be able to send any packet at that instant there is a broadcast. So but when you now have message for only lab A and it is affecting lab B, library and administration, you know that is not good enough. So but if you subnet them, so when you are sending a message that affects only lab A, lab B, library and administration will not be affected. So that is the purpose of subnetting. Now, as a test, I want you to try out this scenario too. Try it out. After you are done, you can forward it to me for me to check whether you have got it right. Should you require any further guidance, don't hesitate to reach out. So for this second scenario, office is for office building floors. Now, company owns this IP address. Each floor needs 200 hosts for floor 1. Floor 2 needs 120 hosts. Floor 3 needs 60 hosts. And floor 4 needs 30 hosts. So you need to do it and determine the correct subnet size for each floor. Assign subnet starting from the lowest IP, then identify unused address space. So please do this second scenario and reach out so that I can help you check whether you have got it. Until then, when you message me or when I release the next video, I wish you well.